The third part of the first step was to prepare. First step was to prepare yourself, practice positive intent, and this was understanding differences between the opinions, assumptions between the two peoples. So assumptions are in everywhere. It depends on how you have been educated, where are you working, where are you living. So your assumptions, your about the or your past experiences with the people or the situations, our brains are hardwired to react immediately based on our preconceived emotions, preconceived notions, or preconceived assumptions that which are made up of our past experiences. But what we need to do is we need to bend. If we want to have a successful communication between the two peoples, we need to understand the differences. For example, a co-worker is glassing his watch while talking at you. What might you think? Based on your experience or based on your assumption, you may think that he is in a hurry to go somewhere and he is not. He want the meeting to end now. Or he may think he's bored, or you may think he's concerned about his next meeting. Without verifying what you saw, you cannot make you will make may make an incorrect assumption. Maybe your assumption is correct, but maybe your assumption is not correct. Sometimes assumptions are ingrained when they become a fact to that person. So what you need to do in this particular situation is you need to ask, what's the matter? Why you are asking the watch regularly? Do you have another meeting, or do you have any other appointment, or you just want to know the time? Because if he is continue to watch the assumptions, probably his focus is not on the communication itself. So that's a part of the first step. Prepare the user. So if the other person is busy or he has some other things to do, he may not be ready to listen, or he may be ready to listen only for a few minutes. Then after that he may have another things to do. So you need to prepare the receiver as well. How to avoid these kind of harmful assumptions? Well, you need to treat the person individually. Means whatever is your experience with other peoples, you cannot make a generalized assumption, or you cannot generalize your assumption based on your past experiences with yourself or the way you behave in certain situations. It may not be true to the other people. So everybody is different. Even on a particular course of month, if let's say you are talking to the same person, after 1 month or after 3 months, he may have changed, because people's change. So you cannot treat the people's same to with the other people's, and also maybe the people's or based on your past experience with the same people. Then you need to listen before jumping into the conversation. Now is try to detect the clues about assumptions may be making. So now you may need to listen before jumping into the conclusions. Sorry, not the conversation, conclusions. You can ask the clarify them. Avoid sweeping statements that you always are late, or you always are busy, or you always watch your we don't always never pay attention every time. So these are sweeping generalizations that will be harmful to in the proper communication. So we are supposed to avoid these kind of communications. Then consider the positive intent. Remember, the people usually have a good reason for what they are doing. So what you need to do to avoid getting misunderstood or misunderstanding the others is to ask, to make assumption that other people might be having a positive reason why they are doing so. The generally people sometimes may have negative behaviors, may have unfaithful conversations. But when we are communicating, we cannot assume the other person is having a bad faith. We always have to assume the person has a positive intent. Then listen to your self talk. Psychologists tell us sometimes we talk at the rate of 1300 words per minute. That's is most of them is negative. Look at examples how you can transform self-talk into a positive or natural statement. This is the way to convert your mindset into a positive intent. So this is a way how we can control ourselves, and how we can control those assumptions that we are making against those peoples. Negative thought is always, my boss is a jerk, I don't get paid enough, that was the dumbest mistake I have ever seen. That is negative thought, right? When most of the time you will have it. Positive statement against this is, maybe my boss is having a bad day. It's a temporary problem that will pass. We caught the mistake in time and no permanent damage was done. That is positive intent. So you need to convert every negative thought in your brain into a positive one. So if you are thinking my boss is a jerk, then maybe he's having a bad day. Or if it's every day, then you have to think about it again. I don't get paid enough, maybe it's a temporary situation. Sometimes we demean ourselves, sometimes we think that we are not capable enough, or we don't deserve the things that we are getting, or we might be doing. That is not the right thing to do. Your positive, you always have to convert your negative thoughts into a positive thought. It is not a short term process, it's a very long term process which will take time. It takes a lot of practice to do. And you will always get negative thought. It's not possible to ignore the negative thoughts. It's not possible that your brain will not have negative thoughts. The only thing you can do is to convert those negative thoughts into a positive one, slowly. The more you convert your negative thoughts into positive, your brain will be wired slowly to think positively. So thinking positive is very difficult task.